sari-saring titulo ang hinawakan at napalaban na rin sa iba't ibang bansa, pero ang dumating ang pinakamabigat na laban ng Pinoy boxer na si Haka. Bumiyahe patungong Amerika at doon hinarap ang sikat na Mexican boxer na si Juan Manuel Dinamita Marquez.
Maybe older than Barrera and those guys. He has not been in any war fight that I can remember. The only one was Pacquiao, but other than that, he's been able to get through his fights just using his skills. So therefore, he isn't as much worn and torn as the other fighters are.
He's younger in boxing years.
The boxing years, he's much younger. Barrera and the guys, Morales, and has done a lot of big super fights.
Tell you what, so far Haka is making the fight a little more than anticipated.
Marquez in the traditional Mexican colors. Haka in the red and blue. He is a southpaw. Marquez says, no worries. 4 of the last 6 fighters who he's faced have been southpaws. Now he gets a little nervous. He's got to go up against a conventional fighter. And there you see Marquez land a straight right.
Marquez is fighting a lot more aggressive than he normally and punching with a lot more authority. He seems to be very determined to be impressive tonight.
He does, but I'll tell you one thing. Haka has fast hands, and he's making Marquez's hands look a little slower, I think, than they normally look.
Yeah, but Marquez is going for power tonight, I think, more so than technical.
Marquez got burned 2 fights ago. He lost a decision that more than a few observers thought he should have won in Indonesia against Chris John, who is undefeated.
Manny mentioned he's going for power. As you mentioned earlier, Fran, he even acknowledges he's looking for the KO tonight. I never heard him say something like that.
Yeah, and he's got caught with a beautiful straight left right there by Haka.
Haka doing work to the body, but Marquez spins him around and now goes to town in the corner.
This could turn out to be a much more exciting fight than we all expected.
It was a left hook from Marquez.
Marquez and Haka trading blows, and we're just 2 minutes into the first round.
You know, I thought that Haka was going to be more of a boxer looking at the films of him in the past, but he's seemingly trying to be a power puncher tonight, the same as Marquez. It means we have a good, exciting fight on our hands.
Marquez doubles up with the left hand and unloads a right in a nice combination.
He's fighting a fast southpaw from the Philippines, but this one doesn't hit like a ton of bricks as Pacquiao does.
Nice stuff here in the opening round of a scheduled 12-rounder between Juan Manuel Marquez and Jim Rex Haka.
Jim Rex is trying to land almost the same identical straight left through the center that Pacquiao was so effective with when he fought Marquez.
When we go to the corner of Haka, they speak Tagalog. Ernie Kalug will translate, and when we landing 18 out of 54, Haka 18 out of 80.
I thought that replay was a great illustration of technically how good Marquez is. On offense, you saw it there, straight right hand. Excellent uppercut, left hook.
There you see how Harold Letterman scored the first round, and he gave it to the youngster from the Philippines, Haka. This fight was supposed to take place just over a month ago. Haka had some visa problems. And in between now and then, he has joined Golden Boy Promotions.
I respectfully disagree with Harold, which doesn't often happen, I find, but I think that it was Marquez who did some of the hurting in that round, although
couldn't tell if Marquez just was off balance or if he got rocked. Seems to be steady on his feet now.
Marquez is a wee tad slower than he normally is, I think, because he's trying to fight for power tonight. Normally he's a lot faster, a lot more elusive with his upper body movement. And the way he's fighting right now, this is anybody's fight, because he himself got caught with a right hook, even though he might have been off balance. It could have been a facial knockdown still.
He just landed a straight right.
Nope, and also Haka just landed a left little uppercut inside.
Here we go, man.
You know, going into this fight, it doesn't seem like this is the kind of fighter that would prepare you for Manny Pacquiao. And yet, Manny, it looks to me like Haka's fighting similarly to Pacquiao in many respects.
A little slower version, not as intense, not as fierce, but still definitely a version of Pacquiao.
And main thing is not the punching power.
There is a cut over the left eye, I believe, of Jim Rex Haka. Marquez unloads. A right hand. And there you see what Marquez does so well. He leaned back and he counterpunched with his left.
But Haka's counterpunching him also sometimes when he comes in. By simply moving back, which is interesting because I thought he would be moving around a lot more, but Haka's just taking a little step back sometimes, just enough to let Marquez miss.
Over time, class tells. Let's see if it tells in this fight, if Marquez can make adjustments and start to pull away.
Marquez trying to end round 2. Second fight in the United States for Haka. The last one was pretty impressive against Geronimo Hernandez. It was a first-round TKO. He was fighting on the undercard of Pacquiao Morales 2.
He's giving Marquez a lot of problems because of the little step that he pulls back a lot, just enough to make Marquez get out of position himself. Instead of throwing punches and just staying there, he punches it in, he pulls back just enough, like he does right there.
Nice wide left hook shook Haka.
Manny, I've heard you describe Tito Trinidad in his prime as a killer robot. He figured out what he needed to do in the first few rounds, and then he executed. And Marquez throughout his career has reminded me of that. It's still early in the fight. Generally, he starts to dominate as the rounds go on.
I don't know if he's going to be that effective. This guy seems to have his number here tonight. This kid is fighting a very intelligent fight. Very elusive up in his upper body right there, very focused. And Marquez cannot get a good, consistent rhythm going with any combinations.
Punch was blocked by Haka.
But it was blocked with such force from Marquez that I think it did a little something.
And I think ditto on that one.
Yeah.
It was blocked, but there was some pepper coming off that from Marquez.
And I've seen Haka miss a little bit more in this round than he was earlier.
Yeah, but the one thing we know that once Haka slows down at all, Marquez is going to step it up, take it to another level.
I see Marquez applying a little more pressure here.
It's not only that, but Haka was always keeping that little distance between them. He's not that effective with it now, I think, because he's tiring a little bit. Where he was always pulling back. Now Marquez is beginning to get his range now.
Marquez showed you a little bit of the speed that he says he has left.
He looks like a slower fighter to me than he did.
He looks slower to me. I agree. He looks slower. He looks seasoned, very professional, but still slow.
At least compared to this guy.
Marquez starting to settle into the fight now. Haka unloads an uppercut. Haka's punch output slows down just a little bit. Marquez trying to whiff, as is Jim Rex Haka. Let's bring in Harold Letterman to see how he has to shoot the fight.
Okay, Fred. 2 rounds to 1. 29-28, Jim Rex Haka. That first round was very, very close. Could have gone either way. I was really surprised at the style of Jim Rex Haka. I mean, this is 2 guys standing there fighting on a dime. In any case, the second round, Haka staggered him. I thought he won that. But round 3, one man, Marquez had his best round of the fight. 2-1, Haka.
It's not uncommon for Marquez to start slowly. It is uncommon to see him fight with this kind of passion. He seems to be not only fighting aggressively, but like he really is trying to take this guy's head off.
Both fighters now opening up a little bit here in the 4th round. If he had matched this kind of passion in previous fights, he maybe then would have gotten the fights that he wanted to have.
Or perhaps he wouldn't have won some of those fights and not been where he, not been as dominant as he was.
All right, touche.
But that's the tightrope that Barrera has walked in recent years, where he's become technical when he's needed the win and exciting when he was clearly better than the other
But
guy.
that's following a long career where he was explosive.
Yes.
Nice overhand right from Juan Manuel Marquez. Haka now trying to lead with the left hand.
Haka doesn't have the punching power, Marquez, but he's fighting a very good fight, and thus far, this round seemingly is winning the round.
Normally against southpaws, Manny, guys are on guard for that straight left hand and don't see the right hook. Marquez seems to be caught with that straight left hand a little more than you'd anticipate.
Yeah,
Why?
I know that I'm really beginning to have a lot of second thoughts about the fight with Pacquiao, because Pacquiao punches with a lot more speed and power than the Haka.
On the other hand, the fact that he looks vulnerable still, he is fighting a southpaw with a good straight left hand, and that's put him in kind of the, he's active against a guy like that. Might that not be an advantage against Pacquiao in a rematch?
But what I'm concerned about, Marquez seems to have lost just a little step in his speed, and you can't do that with a guy like Pacquiao.
Fight.
And you saw Haka's corner, Jose Reyes there, the cut man, with that cut under control over Haka's left eye. In the 5th round of a scheduled 12-rounder here at Dodge Arena in Hidalgo, Texas, Fran Charles alongside Emmanuel Stewart and Max Kellerman. And this was supposed to be a rebirth here for Juan Manuel Marquez. Got his hands full.
He does, but I'll tell you what, should he come out with a win here, I think this is more in his interest than it would have been to just chase a guy around for 12 rounds.
Well, the opponent is fighting him perfectly, and especially if he's looking forward to fighting Pacquiao. He's got a watered-down version of Pacquiao right here in front of him.
This is why some fighters don't watch tape, and Haka says he doesn't watch tape of his opponents, because maybe the guy on the tape is the guy you face.
Well, gamesmanship maybe there by Marquez. Haka, he wanted to make sure everything was all good. Marquez wouldn't touch gloves. And now there's a cut.
Stop. Time. Neutral corner, right there. Right there.
Over the right eye, it's a gash.
And it's bleeding. It's kind of spouting blood.
I think it came from a punch, too.
Accidental headbutt. Accidental. 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 Accidental headbutt.
All right, referee Lawrence Cole says it came from an accidental headbutt.
Box.
Could have, because it's a very hard, bad cut. When you see two heads bump together, that's what happens when two skulls crash. The flesh in between gets busted. Very bad cut.
I'll tell you what, if Harold's scorecard's right, that puts Marquez in some trouble.
And Marquez, you can tell, sensing he doesn't want the fight to be in danger because of the cut. Going to work here in the 5th round. This is the 5th fight that we know of with Haka where headbutts have been an issue.
We have not seen Marquez in his career, except for the Pacquiao fight, vulnerable. And it's that kind of invulnerability that has made him perhaps less marketable than, say, Barrera, who seemed more human through the years.
Blood now.
Come back from a bad cut over his eye, down perhaps on points.
Now see what happened.
To beat a guy, that will go a long way towards making him a more popular fighter.
Marquez shot a big volley trying to, get even after getting cut. And now that he's trying to take a little break, Haka's trying to take control again.
Blood streaming down the right side of Marquez's face.
two.
Fight is stopped due to the headbutt. They will go to the scorecards to determine a winner. Power punches in round 5, about even. Marquez landing 14 of 43, Haka 12 of 40. Nice right hand from Juan Manuel Marquez.
Sometimes when fighters aren't good anymore, as good as they used to be, you find out if they're great. And Marquez, though he has some wins against guys like Derek Gainer and Manuel Medina, has never had the signature win against a top guy. He drew with Pacquiao. He lost to Freddie Norwood, controversially.
Rocks Haka there with 2 rights.
Should he win dramatically here, that's something new in his portfolio, and I think raises his profile among the top fighters in this weight class. And he does seem to be fighting harder since the cut.
And he's, to me, landed more punches in the fight, clean punches, than Haka. But Haka still seems to be so relaxed and seems to be very comfortable with the situation, and has been able to take all of the power shots from Marquez, which means that it could be a tough fight for Marquez as it goes down the stretch.
Well, it wouldn't be a dramatic win if it wasn't against a determined guy.
Yeah, Marquez is fighting very determined. I'm very impressed with that. But I'm also equally impressed with this young guy who seems to be unawed about this pro-Mexican crowd, when particularly they're excited about after what happened with Pacquiao in the Mexican last week.
I mean, showing some maturity, Manny.
A lot of maturity, yeah.
Really is. He's getting hit, and it doesn't seem to be taking the fight out of him. Hawkins.
Manny, it was only a couple of weeks ago where your fighter, Vladimir Klitschko, he suffered a cut, and we saw his pace pick up a little bit.
Yeah, but
That's
that's what good fighters do. When you tell them to pick it up, at least they go out and they try to. And I think Marquez has tried to do the same thing. Good right hand. Good right hand.
Marquez landing flush upstairs on Jim Rex Haka.
Very determined fighter. Now, I like what Marquez is doing. He used to throw that long 1-2, and Haka was getting out of the way of it, but now he's just getting closer, shooting a right-hand lead off the back now instead of the 1-2. And he's been more effective. There it is again. By shooting the right hand without shooting the left, he's been more effective, and Haka can't time it.
The blood streaming down the right side of Marquez's face. You see him wiping it off. In between, firing big shots. Fellas, safe to say, not what we expected.
Cleanly very often. It's a straight right hand, and maybe that's one of the reasons Haka's still around this late in the fight, despite the fast pace.
All right, we are through 6 rounds. Harold, how do you have it?
Okay, Fred, 58-56, Juan Manuel Marquez. Fred, I got to tell you, I think this kid's won 4 rounds in a row. I'm talking about Marquez. Even with the bleeding, even with the blood going in his eye, he's landed a great right hand, and he's winning these rounds. But I want to say something. You were right about we go to the scorecards after the 4th round. The case, the fight is stopped by that cut. But I got to say this. If the fight is stopped in the middle of the round, you score the partial round. So therefore, you got to start fast in every round. Make sure you don't lose the first half, because you got to score that partial round. 4-2, Marquez.
Marquez catches Haka with a left uppercut.
Haka has a good chin. That's the only reason he hasn't been knocked out, because Marquez is caught him with good punches, and Marquez punches good with both hands. Even though he punches good with the left hook, he has a good right hand. But Haka just takes a good punch.
Not only is this the kind of fight that will endear Marquez to the fans, but maybe it will make other top fighters think that he's more vulnerable than he used to be, and therefore make it easier to make some of those top fights.
Well, that is truly the case, I believe. I think he gets hit a little bit more than he used to, but he's fighting a lot more, too.
Haka momentarily there thought he got hit low. Lawrence Paul wasn't having it.
If it was a straight punch on the belt line, so it means that maybe mentally he's starting to fall apart a little bit. But there was nothing serious about the low blow.
Nice uppercut by Marquez, and then he does a nice job of stepping back to get some separation, and he comes back with a left.
I mean, for Marquez, he just landed a right uppercut from the outside against a world-class southpaw.
Yeah,
That's so, I mean, how do you do something like that?
And no punch has wobbled this boy Haka yet still. He's been hit with some tremendous shots. but none of the punches have caused him to get in any trouble.
Juan Manuel Marquez, as I mentioned, he lost 2 fights ago. Unanimous decision to Chris John in Indonesia. He counterpunched his way through that fight, even though he thought he won it. In his last fight against Turtsak Jandang, we saw this type of effort from Marquez.
He's fighting a very good, exciting, power-punching fight tonight, and very determined.
The fight was stopped in the 7th with Marquez winning.
Marquez, the Norwood fight, most people thought he won. He lost the decision. The Chris John fight also, most people thought he won.
And Juan Manuel Marquez comes right out in the beginning of the 8th round and lands a left hook. Haka's getting the biggest payday of his career, as you mentioned, Max, $50,000. He says he plans on going back to the Philippines. He wants to build a house. He has a wife.
You can build a couple in the Philippines with 50 grand. He looks like $1 million tonight, though, considering the level of opposition. He's really fighting a spirited, inspired kind of fight.
He says he has no other hobbies. Boxing is it.
It should be said also as we watch Marquez and you think about Pacquiao. People are talking about Barrera in a rematch with Pacquiao. Barrera got knocked out in 5 rounds. Marquez drew in a fight I actually thought he won. Many people did. He didn't lose to Pacquiao. He drew.
It was 2.5 years ago, though.
Yeah, but since then, you know, Barrera got blitzed. Morales got blitzed twice.
The second bite. You okay? Okay? The second bite. Okay? That second bite.
What is that?
Time in. Box.
All right, Lawrence Cole letting us know it's a second accidental headbutt. And you can see once again, Marquez wants to take matters into his own hands. Haka standing right there with him going toe-to-toe.
But Haka came right to him and
He sure did.
netted punch for punch.
What an exchange. What a great exchange.
You know, Haka's going right to him. He's not taking it easy. Both guys are meeting each other head on.
Blood streaming down his face, Fran, down Marquez's face in a furious exchange with a determined
And
contender.
if they go to a scorecard, based on what I'm seeing, Marquez still could win the fight, possibly.
He's not trying to win on the scorecard.
No, they're going for the knockout, both guys.
Marquez sensing the danger with the cuts. Blood now covering the right side of his face.
Time right there. Come here. Come on. Come on, Lonnie. You have that? How many you got? You're ahead on the scorecard. Okay? When you see how many kills I got. Got it? All right. Hang on. Time in.
It's a little odd there. Lawrence Cole telling Marquez he was ahead on the scorecard.
Definitely on it. Very seldom. I don't recall ever hearing that.
He's basically telling him, it sounds as though he's implying, if you decide you don't want to fight on because of the cut, you're going to win. And Marquez, to his credit, wants to fight on. That's no small thing, folks. His face is ripped open, and he wants to fight on.
How could Lawrence Cole have any idea what the scorecard said?
I don't know how he can know, and if he did know, it's very unusual. It seemed like out of order for him to tell one of the boxers that is. But
they're talking about open scoring in fights, guys, and that's the kind of stuff that would happen in an open.
Marquez the 25-9 advantage in power punches in the 8th round and 30-17 overall.
When a southpaw fights an orthodox fighter, that happens. There are going to be headbutts. By the way, I said fighters would quit in an open scoring system. There are pros and cons to open scoring. That is a potential con, that fighters with less heart than Marquez would quit knowing they were ahead in the fight.
And a lot of fighters, once they realize that they are comfortable ahead on points, they would just actually run the rest of the fight, even if there's no cut involved, just on points, which is what you see a lot in international amateur boxing, which makes it so boring now. Once a guy find out he's 7-2 ahead, He says, oh, I got 3 more rounds to go. I'll just run.
To Marquez's credit, he's not looking just to win, but to win in a way that will kind of tip the scale away from Barrera and towards him in terms of public demand for a Pacquiao fight.
And he's got 4 more rounds to go altogether. Just the fight is still just a third of the way to get still left to go. That's a long time when you're bleeding like that.
And the guys, a point that was just brought to my attention from the truck, Marquez may not have even known what Lawrence Cole was saying. He may not have understood him.
Good point.
You see Haka wanting to take advantage of the situation. Marquez's corner doing a nice job on that cut, because it is hardly as much of an issue, the blood that is, as it was in round 8.
Really nice job, you're right.
Nacho Bernstein happens to be his trainer, cut man, and manager.
Doing it all, huh?
And has been his manager since he was a kid. I guess when he was about 8 or 9 years old. He's been always the boxing guy in his life, but he and his brother Raw. Rafael.
Haka now trying to do some work against the ropes, and he comes back with a strong left hook to the body. Oh, big left hook by Marquez. He doubled up, and it floors Haka.
5, 7, 8, 9, 10.
Surprise.
I don't think Haka knows where he is quite.
No, he probably didn't see the punch. But it seemed like he was aware, but totally confused.
That's his Sunday punch, Manny, the left hook. When he catches you with the hook clean, you gotta go.
Great victory for Marquez.
Jim Rex Haka seemingly was taking everything that Juan Manuel Marquez had to offer until he got caught with a double left hook.
Well, after this victory, I would love to see Marquez get a super fight with Pacquiao. Win or lose, he deserves it.
Has he tipped the scales for you away from Barrera and towards himself for the next guy for Pacquiao to fight, Manny? He has for me.
I think because of the drama of this fight compared to Barrera's last victory, the public would probably want to see Marquez now more so than Barrera, which I wanted at first.
And there you see the knockout right there. And watch it with the left hand from Marquez. Doubles up, and it was the second one that put Haka on his seat, and he didn't move from that point on.
You might be wondering, why isn't he trying to get up? I think it's a case of him just not knowing where he is.
I'm still confused. I cannot figure it out. Seems like he's aware.
Yeah,
he's not really hurt that much. The fact that he's setting up, not on his back. But nevertheless, he was knocked out.
He did. He looked cognizant of what was going on, but sometimes a fighter can look that way and still be totally dazed and confused. That's what we want to see as fight fans. His face torn open.
Featherweight champion of the world, Juan Manuel Marquez.
So yan po ang gusto kong i-share sa inyo ngayong araw sa mga kaibigan at kababayan natin dyan sa Pinas, mga boxing fans at sa mga tulad kong OFW saan man panig sa mundo. Kumusta po kayong lahat dyan? Kung nagustuhan niyo po itong aking video, paki-like at kung pwede, mag-subscribe na din po kayo. At para updated kayo sa aking mga video, pwede nyo i-click ang notification bell. Maraming salamat sa inyong panonood. Shout out kay Mr. Minandro Domingo ng KSA, kay Mr. Brando Makatangay ng KSA, kay Mr. Ricardo Bernaldo Jr., GI pa din ng Bahamas, kay Mr. Narciso Dupla, kay Miss Madam B at Bill Mahamfreyes, kay Mr. Dong Tangloy Malyari, Jen Merdan Garcia ng Macau, Nerio Morcia, Billy Jubildad, Jan Maravillas at kay Mr. Edgar Balili. Maraming salamat po sa pagsuporta nyo sa aking channel.
He still does that.
Hooker has suffered 10 consecutive defeats in professional boxing. So if this goes now there right now,
And Penelos is still following him around. Oh, just body shot.
Yeah, body shot puts Gonzalez down.
He's hurting.
Это нокдаун. Если нет последний нокаут. Все, аут. Праздник на Филиппинах. To the ocean. Arenas, Joe's been in a lot of close, tough fights. 4 draws and 5 splits or majority decisions. Unlike Davis, he's fire tested, ready for battle.
Oh, he backs him up into the corner.